Now the latest from ITV News in the West Country.
Hello and welcome to ITV News West Country.
Your headlines tonight. More powers to tackle van dwellers across Bristol. Councillors say they'll force hundreds to move on, as one woman tells us she has no choice.
We don't necessarily want to live in a van, it's just rent is so high, everything costs so much. I'm a full-time worker and I can't really afford rent.
Good evening and welcome to the programme. First tonight, Bristol City Council say they will start taking enforcement action against people living in vans and caravans who refuse to leave the city's streets. A consultation on what to do about the divisive issue has just ended, and the authority is promising to act with new powers.
Well, it plans to have 2 additional sites offering temporary facilities in place by the end of the year, with more to follow. But it's not enforceable, leaving many to suspect the roadside encampments are going nowhere. Richard Payne reports.
Becky's van is her pride and joy. She spent time and money doing it up. But now she and her boyfriend are selling up to travel abroad. Partly, she says, because of the reaction their lifestyle receives.
Well, we actually got vandalised at St George. Someone filled our petrol tank with stones and washing up powder and things, and I think that would have been from someone who didn't want our van there. They can always speak to us and, politely.
The 28-year-old care worker says they have had little choice but to live beside a central Bristol park, off and on for the last 2 years.
We don't necessarily want to live in a van, it's just rent is so high, everything costs so much. I'm a full-time worker and I can't really afford rent, so that's why I'm living in a van. So they have to see it from our perspective too.
A delicate standoff which has divided opinion ever since Bristol's van and now caravan dwelling numbers have quadrupled, with an estimated 800 vehicles giving the city a reputation few would choose. Encampments like this one in the fish ponds area have become commonplace across the city, forcing the council to commit £400,000 to try to find a long-term fix through a widespread public consultation. Although encouraged to, the majority of van dwellers haven't taken part. Some tell me they're sceptical about the intentions of the exercise.
They're not very confident that they're going to be listened to, really.
If you don't comply, please will start knocking on our vans. It's to provide grounds for enforcement.
He's not drunk, he's just wanting to live an easy life. It's nothing like that at all.
The council hope their meanwhile sites, providing temporary basic facilities for a relatively small fee, will drastically reduce roadside living. 2 new sites will soon be added to the existing 5, with an ambition to provide 250 pitches by next spring.
These are places where people will be able to get access to some services. They'll be able to feel safe as well, because that's something we know a lot of vehicle dwellers tell us.
Yeah, sorry, but if they are already feeling safe and they have got the services they want and they are very self-sufficient, we've seen the operations they've got there, they don't need council help, they just want to stay on the side of a road. They can do that if their vehicle's legal.
We need to move on from the situation that we've got to here, and this is something that affects communities across the country, but obviously it's been very visible here in Bristol, and we're really sort of pioneering a new approach here.
A new approach which will ultimately include enforcement action against those who refuse to leave Bristol's streets. The Downs remains a contentious and arguably most visible example of van dwelling. Several empty caravans have been removed to temporary storage, but numbers remain high here despite parking restrictions. Becky and her boyfriend will soon leave Bristol behind, but the council has to find a solution for the hundreds who still call the streets their home.
Well, Richard, whose report you just heard there, joins us in the studio now. Richard, this is an issue that's been going on for so long. What happens next? So long, Seb. Yet two things are expected before the year's out. One thing we do know about is on December 19th, the council will have a housing committee meeting where they'll decide their policy for the next year and subsequent years, what they're going to do with van dwellers, and hopefully get many of them into these meanwhile sites I was mentioning. They've got 250 spaces next spring coming online, they hope, if they get planning. But not everyone wants to go. Many don't want to go. So how do you sort that out? I think, you know, they will be there for some considerable time yet, maybe on a smaller number. But the next thing is the council may face legal action. People on the Downs are infuriated. They have to protect the Downs Committee. They want people off there immediately. They think it's totally unworkable up there. They say, yes, look after the people who need to be, but a lot of this is lifestyle choice. They are bringing legal action backed by a barrister. It may go to court. I've asked the council about this. They say they will deal with that if and when it comes. Their priority are the people in the vans, getting them somewhere safe and secure. OK. Richard, for now, thank you.